Hey, speaking of cool screens, Samsung, remember how we talked about this before? They say that their new foldable phone will be a tablet you can put in your pocket. So remember about 4 or 5 episodes back, we had talked about the rumors we had heard about Samsung having a foldable screen, and we thought, well, what would be useful about that? Would you fold it and have a calculator on one side, maybe a daily planner on the other? Like, why would you want a foldable phone?
Yeah.
And so now they're saying it's actually going to be a tablet that you can just fold and put in your pocket. So for example, if you had a tablet in front of you, it might be awkward to put in a bag. You can't put a tablet in a pocket, but if you folded it up, that could be convenient, right?
Yeah, I guess if it's a tablet first and then a phone second, I think that's kind of the issue that you've got to ask yourself is what is the purpose of this device? And it was kind of the same question we had to ask ourselves when phablets first came out. I remember
Which you
when
love.
I do love it. And I remember my first note. It was the very first note that came out. And Dan, when all the other phones were small, like the iPhone 4, it looked like I put a dinner plate to my head. Like, I remember I was out at lunch and my phone rang and I picked up my Note 1 and I put it to my head and everybody started laughing. They're like, Matt, it's like you put a dinner plate to your head.
The whole restaurant stopped eating.
Yeah, they were like, that is ridiculous.
Silverware crashed on the ground.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do like the form factor that Samsung's putting out now. It's more of a candy bar shape. It's not nearly as wide as that original Note. So it fits better in your hand. It's easier to one-hand use, but it took them a while to get to that form factor. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think people will buy it as a tablet first and then, oh, it's a foldable tablet, not necessarily a phone?
Yeah, and it sounds to me like it's really just for storage too, right? You'll fold it and be able to put it in convenient places. Ko, he's kind of the person that always talks about the new Samsung products. He says he's hoping this isn't going to be a gimmick product, that it's actually going to be something that people will want to buy. I mean, women have purses. It's easy for them to throw big electronics in and be on the go. But for us, I mean, we only have a front pocket. Imagine
Yeah.
if you could take a tablet-sized thing that was thin that you could fold up and just pull out anywhere. That would be pretty neat.
It would be sweet for the plane. It would be sweet for work. I mean, yeah, I think it would be great. I got to see what it looks like when it's folded up. But I'm going to reserve any judgment until I actually see the phone. I'm looking forward to this one.
They say it's going to be more than 6.5 inches, which is, I mean, your phone's like around that, isn't it?
Yeah, 6.5 to 6.9 is kind of the average for phablets right now. Nothing really goes over 7 inches. So if this foldable actually takes you into that 7 to 8 inch region, but then allows you to have the form factor of a phone when it's folded, I think it could be kind of groundbreaking. I personally like a bigger screen. That's why I've always loved phablets. But, we'll see. And Dan, there was actually another phone that was announced this week by Palm. And
Really? They're still out there?
Well, yeah, and I can't remember who bought the rights to Palm, but it's the complete opposite of this giant phablet that Samsung's trying to create. It's a tiny little phone, and it's actually ridiculous. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but the whole purpose of the new Palm phone is to wean you off your smartphone addiction.
Okay.
So it's small.
Buy
so
your
you're not
phone to stop using phones.
Yeah, that's exactly. So it's like, so I'm gonna buy a phone to stop using my phone. But the whole idea is, well, it's Android and it's on this tiny little screen. Kind of reminds me of Zoolander when he had that tiny little phone. And so it's like, am I really gonna get on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube on this tiny little phone? So that's kind of their idea. I think it's gimmicky, and it's also really silly because they're like, look, it fits better in those sports armbands that you put on and go to the gym in. And I was
Which
like,
nobody uses.
I actually see one guy at the gym using it. I think it looks silly, but just get a smartwatch.
Yes.
It does the same
Get
thing
the
and
Apple
it's
Watch.
even better.
Listen to our podcast about the Apple Watch. It sounds pretty cool.